Hey everybody, so welcome back to MusicAbilityTV. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Megan. I'm a board certified music therapist. And today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some ways that you can incorporate music therapy into your daily life. Some of the music therapy principles that are foundational to what makes music therapy therapeutic and not just listening to music. I think we all have already experienced the ways that simply listening to music can be extremely therapeutic, right? That's a very common experience. You are feeling sad about a breakup, and so you listen to a bunch of songs that make you cry, and for some reason it makes us feel better, right? You just have that perfect playlist going in the car on your road trip, and you remember it for years, and there's just something about that trip that's just so special, and every time you hear those songs, you think about that trip and your friends or whatever it was, or all kinds of memories can be associated with specific songs, right? So we've all kind of had these experiences that dance around music therapy and the experience of music therapy. So I wanted to just give you a little bit of advice to use music therapy principles in your daily life to help you maybe connect better with the music that you experience on a daily basis. It can maybe enhance your experience of music listening or enhance your experience of music making. For musicians in particular, sometimes because we spend so much time in the practice room, right? You're spending so much time focusing on your craft, focusing on improving your skills, that you start to get really down about yourself and also really down about music in general. And it gets to a point where it's not fun anymore. So hopefully some of these tips can help you reconnect with music, help you find that joy again, and maybe you can then bring that into the practice room with you and enjoy music making a little bit more again, instead of laboriously practicing for hours on end. So the first principle that I want to talk about is live versus recorded music. So both can be perfectly therapeutic and both have their place. There is research to show that live music in particular can have an increased therapeutic effect. So singing live, singing to someone like your child, your grandma, your mom and dad, singing to them live can actually have an increased therapeutic effect as opposed to using recorded music. For example, if you're with your child, let's say that you're a new mom with your little baby. I'm a new mom actually, and I've been singing to my little baby. Playing music for them on your phone or on the TV or on a speaker, they're gonna enjoy that, but I guarantee you that they're gonna enjoy you singing with your own voice much, much more. And I know what you're thinking. I have a horrible voice. There's no way that my child wants to listen to me sing. And let me tell you this right now, that is not true. It's not true. Your child does want to hear you sing. They love your voice because it is yours. I promise you. This also goes for, let's say that you have a grandparent in a nursing home who's suffering from Alzheimer's or dementia, and you're having trouble connecting with them. Playing recorded music for them could be an option, but I think you'll see even more of a response if you sing their favorite song to them, you personally. So whether you're their grandchild or you're their child and you are singing their favorite song to them with your own voice, they are going to very much respond to that, and they will most likely sing with you. And I think it could end up being a really special moment for you. So the other thing that goes hand in hand with the live versus recorded music, you want to make sure that you're using preferred music. And what I mean by that is, if you have someone that you know who's, let's say they're in the hospital and they're recovering from a surgery or they're recovering from some sort of trauma, maybe in your brain, you're thinking that you should play some classical music for them because that's going to be therapeutic. You feel like, classical music is really beautiful, and I've heard that, you can play Mozart for babies and it'll help their development and all that. Maybe you're coming from a totally good place. You feel like that's what you should do. However, I caution you, does this person like classical music? Okay, that is the most important part when choosing what music you are going to play or sing for somebody. You do not want to play classical music for someone just because that's what you think will be therapeutic. Does this person actually like metal music? Then maybe you should consider playing something like Metallica for them instead of classical music. I'll give you an example. There was and this is not my story, this is a story that I heard a while back. There was a therapist who worked in a ICU, and there was a patient who was in a coma. His mother had bought him a relaxation CD that had classical music on it. And every time she played it, his heart rate would go through the roof, and he would be exhibiting a lot of high anxiety symptoms, and no one really understood what was wrong, but they just assumed that, well, I guess music doesn't help him. So a music therapist came in and asked, about the CD, what kind of music was on it, and then asked, well, what kind of music does he like to listen to? And his mom got really embarrassed, and she said, well, it's not appropriate. And she said, well, what is it? And it's gangster rap. He preferred gangster rap. His mom was embarrassed about that because I'm sure there's, bad language, or maybe they're talking about unsavory topics, right? But as soon as that music therapist started playing gangster rap for him instead of classical music, that heart rate came right down, the breathing rate stabilized, and he was showing signs of relaxation. So it just goes to show you, the music preference is a more important part than what you think or maybe assume will be therapeutic. So the way that you can apply that to yourself, right? Let's say you're wanting to help yourself relax. Don't, just type in, relaxing music into YouTube, because that's maybe not necessarily going to be music that you prefer. If you know for a fact that you like the kind of relaxing music that you find on YouTube, for example, maybe the kind of music that you would hear at a spa, if you know for a fact that you love that music, then go right ahead and listen to it. You might find that you're better off listening to music that you know for a fact that you actually like, regardless of whether it seems relaxing. You may have experienced this before where something, screamo music or something like that someone else would just be totally freaked out by, completely relaxes you. And that's fine. Embrace that, use that to your advantage, and don't be embarrassed about it. Everybody has their music preferences. You don't have to listen to relaxing music. You can listen to whatever you enjoy. So that leads me into the next principle, which is something called the ISO principle, which is basically where we can help you stabilize your breathing rate and your heart rate by first matching it and then bringing it to wherever it is that we want. So let's say that somebody is experiencing a little bit of anxiety, their respiratory rate is starting to increase. So we want to match where they're at first and then bring it down. And this can go the other way too. Maybe someone is too sleepy, wants to wake themselves up or get pepped up. And so what you want to do is meet that slow rate first, and then bring it up. So you may have found sometimes that maybe you are just in a very low mood, but you really need to clean your kitchen, right? And so maybe you try to put on some upbeat music to help you get in the mood, and it's just not helping. You just still feel like crap and like you don't want to clean the kitchen, and it almost feels like it's making it worse. That's because I want you to meet yourself where you're at first. So if you're already in a low mood, you don't have to try to force upbeat music on top of that and try to force yourself to get into an upbeat state of mind. Meet yourself where you're at. Listen to something mellow. Listen to something that you usually listen to when you're sad or when you're in a low mood, and just be there first, and then maybe try to up your energy a little bit. Sorry, doggy's barking. I don't know what the doggy's barking at. Franny, leave it. Okay, she's fine. So meet yourself where you're at first. Listen to that music that you usually would when you're in that sort of lower state, and then try to pep yourself up. Or alternatively, you can do this the other way around too. Let's say that you're really amped and like you cannot fall asleep, right? Meet yourself where you're at first and play something that's a little bit high energy and maybe dance or do something to get that energy out, and then try to bring yourself down and listen to something relaxing and slow down that breathing rate. So lastly, and this is just as important as everything else, but it felt like everything was equally important in this video. So it's last but not least. Lastly, I want you to know that musical skill is not required, okay? You do not have to know anything about music. You don't have to know how to sing or know how to play an instrument or know anything about notes and rhythms and chords, and you don't have to know any of it, because you know what? You already have an intrinsic understanding and knowledge of music from the womb, okay? You know what you have inside you? You have a rhythm that is constantly going inside your own body, in your heart, right? Your heart is constantly beating and making a rhythm to your entire day. You have it in your very blood and in your very bones. You do not need to have technical knowledge in order to apply and use music in your daily life to help you feel better. I'm sure a lot of you already know this, but I just want to emphasize it to you again. If it makes you feel amazing to sing in the shower as loud as you can, do it, okay? Do it. It's okay. It does not matter if you feel like you don't have the skills. If you're really super self-conscious about it, something that you can do, so singing in the shower, I think is a good sort of hack, because you feel very private, the water's going, so there's a little bit of noise, and it can just help you loosen up a little bit by singing in the shower, right? Another thing that you could do is you could turn on some other kind of white noise. So you could turn on the vacuum, you could turn on a hairdryer, something like that, to make yourself a little bit more private, and then maybe you can just hum quietly to yourself if you really, really don't want anyone else in your house to hear you sing. Hopefully some of these tips were helpful to you. I hope that you're now able to find some ways to incorporate music into your daily life to help you feel better, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.